Good morning, Mr. Cartier. We are Sevens Consulting. We're here today to give you our proposition on what your current company is, the financial implications, and how your current financial struggle is a big problem. So one thing that we really want to focus on is just your current situation and how your company can grow in the next couple of years, even though you are in a big pinch. So we're just going to dive right into the issues and the analysis. So I'm just going to pass it over to my colleague right now.
All right, so the first thing that we wanted to do was give you the underlying causes between the big issue here today before you go to AGM meeting in October. So the issue that we really pinpointed here is the problem of the lack of profitability the last couple of years and the future potential for insolvency. It's a dire situation, and its root cause in the fact that there's a need for operational and strategic alignment of your strategies. So right here today, we've pinpointed 3 key areas that we're going to look at that's driven this issue. It's the fact that there's operational inefficiencies and constraints. There's ineffective marketing in terms of advertising and their pricing, and also some misaligned management objectives that we'll dive into and address in a moment. So the first area, this is something that you already know. It's nothing that we need to repeat for too long, is that there is deteriorating financial performance in your company. The last couple of years, you've seen declining profits, and this is the fact that we've outlined here today is your expenses are growing out of control. They're above industry average. They're 14%, which is a lot significantly higher than your 10% of revenue growth that you can be very proud of. It's not, it's strong, and this has really pinched your net earnings and really decreased that profit margin of yours. The next, the area that has driven this expenses upwards is your labor expenses that we've discovered. In the last year, we've seen your labor go well above average of the industry, and it's 14% above average. You can see right here, it's 43% of revenue. This is unsustainable, and it's really compressing your profit margins. The next area that we wanted to look at is the cash constraint that you're looking at today. Your cash flow levels are very low, and there's also a liquidity crisis. Your cash levels has gone from about $30,000 in the balance sheet to 0, and the implications of this low level of cash is 2 different areas that we've identified. 1 is the ability to finance daily operations, and 2, to meet also short-term obligations. This right here is something that must be addressed, and this low level of cash flow is constraining your ability to grow and for us to even recommend you anything in the future. The key metrics that we want to look at right here and really draw your attention is 1, the current ratio. Right now, it's at a 0.06 on every dollar, and this is going to lead to potential insolvency. The other key area that we want to look at and just address very quickly is this cash flow constraint. Your accounts receivables has skyrocketed, and it's something that we're going to address in the future and look at before moving forward with the recommendation.
So in terms of the market, where do you sit? You have your competitors such as Timber Valley and Devil's Hill. Timber Valley being a destination resort with higher pricing, and Devil's Hill, which is a lower price community resort that is focused on that community. So you're currently sitting in the middle. You're straddling the market, and you really have no real differentiation strategy. So this is one big problem that we found, and in our recommendation will just help you identify some ways to move you from that current position into a position where you are differentiated through your brand image and through your financial position and by the pricing strategy. So moving on to pricing strategy, we found that you have all these various prices that you have for your consumers. We know that this is very confusing on them, and it's just an abstract price point. It's unclear where these price divisions are found, and as a result, it misaligns your pricing strategy with your company values of being a community-based resort. So with that said, you can see that some of the passes are very abstract. They don't align with your competitors and are even almost too high for your competitors as a community resort. So in terms of inconsistent marketing strategy, we know that you have individuals on your board that are in disagreement with each other. We know that this is a big problem. We know that you were born and raised on these hills. You skied these slopes when you were a kid, and now you're still skiing them today. The problem here today is that with this misalignment, you can't move forward with this. You can't grow. You can't really experience that volume in sales that you really should be having. So we believe that by really having that cohesion, really having that understanding between all your board members, that you can help drive those sales volume and really help you grow in the near future.
So moving on with the recommendation, we are very excited today, and we know we just painted a picture that is not the greatest and the most flowery, and we've painted a dire situation, but we really wanted to create that sense of urgency before you can move forward with the recommendation. However, it has been unprofitable the last couple of years, but we can really help drive you towards profitability in the next few years, given the recommendation that we're going to give you right here, which is split into different time frames, the short term, the midterm, and also the long term. So, What we wanted to provide to you today is a guiding principle that can help everyone come together and help all decisions be made on one principle. So the mission statement that we've outlined here for you today is to really take the local community to new heights by focusing on alpine activities and also being focused on the community and different community-driven initiatives. We wanted this pillar to be the supporting factor for all decision making, the strategic foundation, you can say, and also be the pillar for operational and both marketing decisions. Who are you gonna and in the short term, what we want to do is really solve the liquidity crisis before moving forward with the rest of the recommendation. So right now, today, we've addressed that there's a cash constraint, and we want to free up cash flows through two creative ways that you can do it. One is to really go out there and engage with local community leaders and really try to shore up some investments. Right now, there are individuals out there, community leaders, that want to give back to the community. An individual that we can name right here is Mr. Lazario out there. He is an individual that wants to give back to the community and someone that could potentially sit on this board of directors, the last remaining 3 seats, invest in the company, and also help with decision making and growth in the future. So we're hoping right here with 3 different board members at $25,000 each of investments, $75,000 will help free up this cash flow. And also the second area we wanted to look at is tighten up accounts receivable policies in the next couple of months before the next ski season hits. And hopefully at the end of the day, shore up about $100,000 in cash and solve this liquidity crisis and this cash constraint that you're currently in.
So as I mentioned earlier, there's a pricing strategy. Your pricing strategy is unfocused, it's abstract, and your consumers are confused because it's just such a wide range of variety that you have. So one thing that we've done is created a new pricing strategy. We've added in a bundle package in terms of your family, which consists of 2 adults and 2 youths. As you can see from before, if you're to buy these passes individually, you'd be paying close to $1,900 for 2 youths and 2 adults. With our new bundling prices, new bundle package and new prices, we found that you're actually having cost savings of close to $100 in terms of that whole package. This may seem like you're lowering your sales, but in terms of our forecast, we found that by lowering these costs and lowering these costs for your consumers, you can drive sales up and your demand up by 0.05%. This is very, very low and very, very conservative, and this is why we really like the strategy. We like the strategy just because your total revenues with your past prices were only $318,000, while with this new bundle prices with lower prices and higher demand, you're actually making more money with that. So other things that we looked at was just really focusing on those youth pass. We know that you're community based. We know that you have that sense of community. So one thing that we really want to focus on with that youth pass is that you want to have that loyalty base, consumer loyalty base that you really need. There isn't really a loyalty consumer base in terms of your industry, and this is something that we really want to focus on. By lowering your costs in terms of your youth price, it really helps drive that loyalty base so that when they grow up, when they become adults, when they become students, when they become seniors, they'll come back to your mountain, knowing that your experience is the best experience that they've had. So by really focusing on lowering youth prices, driving up adult prices just ever so slightly by the margins as you can see on the side, we're really hoping to help you drive that demand up for use in the future. Next, we're going to talk about long-term inconsistency in terms of your marketing strategy. We know that there's that inconsistency on the board, there's that misalignment, and we really want to see that cohesion. We want to see all the individuals on the board really come together and focus their energy and strategy together to help drive the sales in this company. So one thing that we're really focused on is centralizing your marketing on age demographic and really focusing on long-term success rather than short-term gains. We found that by really focusing on these new pricing strategies and by really looking at those short-term insolvency problems that my colleague has talked about, you can really find that long-term success even though you're currently not in a good situation. So by doing this, we hope to help you find long-term success by really having that aligned management. Next, we're going to talk about your marketing position. As I mentioned earlier, you're straddling the market and you're not really differentiated in terms of your image. So one thing that we really want to focus on is moving you from that middle position and shifting you over to that community side, lowering your prices ever so slightly, but really focusing on that brand image. We know that brand image is what drives all these sales. So we really hope by taking on our recommendation, you'll be able to move from your current position to our new position.
So very quickly, we wanted to look at the financial forecasts and where the income statements are going to look like the next couple of years. Considering that we take very conservative growth rates and conservative labor cut rates in the next couple of years, we can see that by 2013, you'll be able to return back to profitability and get your expenses down to where the industry averages are. So the next steps that we wanted to take for you to take away from this meeting is to take everything that we've provided here today, bring it to the AGM in October, create that sense of urgency, show them that this strategy will help you grow and help you return to profitability with this focus on community, the very thing that's held everyone here together here today, and also move forward with something that everyone is passionate about. So we thank you for your time.